Hi guys, this is Christina from Speak Better Feel Great TV, the place to boost your English and boost your career. And today we've got another very special interview for you. And I'm really excited about this one because I'm interviewing Luca, who is one of the members of the team of the application and the website MosaLingua, which is a really great app and site for learning languages, English especially, but not, I mean, there are lots of different languages. They've got a lot of interesting tools for English as well. And just to tell you a little bit about Luca, because he's a very interesting person, and I'm sure that you're going to get lots of things out of this interview. He's actually the managing partner of MosaLingua. He's a language enthusiast and an expert who has developed his own personal approach to learning languages. And I think he's figured a lot of things out because he speaks 6 languages. Apart from his native language, which is Italian, so you'll have a different accent for this one. It's not my American, but a nice Italian accent. But he also speaks English perfectly, Spanish, French, Romanian, and Portuguese. So he's obviously got a lot of good advice to share about learning languages. And also these languages he's learned by himself in the last 12 years, which is really, really impressive. And he's always looking for the best tools and the techniques to learn English efficiently. And today he's going to share a lot of his tips and tools with you, members of the Speak Better Feel Great community. So I'm just going to go ahead and let you watch the interview now. It's very interesting, a lot of good tips and advice. So here we go. It's the interview with Luca from MosaLingua. Okay, so Luca, maybe first of all, what exactly is MosaLingua? I mean, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, sure. So MosaLingua is an application for learning languages, mobile devices, and computers. And basically, it's a flashcard app which helps users memorize useful words and key phrases. And we say that, our approach let them memorize those words and phrases easily, quickly, and efficiently.
Yeah, okay, that's good, because I think for a lot of people, that's their big problem is vocabulary, lack of vocabulary. They can't remember the vocabulary, so that's really nice. And for learning English, the MosaLingua app, there's actually more than one app. I think there's several MosaLingua English apps, right?
Yes, because as you know, there is a huge demand for English. So we have a general English app conceived for getting by in everyday life and while traveling.
Right.
Then a business English version.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, which is very useful for people who want to get by at work and use English for professional reasons.
Right.
Then we have 2 apps for the TOEFL and TOEIC exams. And then finally, we have a MosaLingua Medical English, which is an app conceived for doctors and nurses.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, so it's really specific for medical
very
English.
Specific
Interesting.
App. Yeah.
Why did you guys develop that one?
Yeah, it's we realized that there aren't so many effective methods for to help doctor and nurses, and there is need. There is need, and because doctor and nurses need to communicate with patients, foreign patients, and so it's important to have a method to learn that very quickly and efficiently.
Oh yeah, right. And plus, it's I guess medical English. It's not like traveling. I mean, it could really be a matter of life and death in that situation. So
you have to avoid misunderstandings.
Exactly right.
It can be very dangerous.
Exactly. Okay. Well, that's really interesting. Yeah, and the business English one sounds good. The business English, is it? What sort of subjects do you find in the business English app?
Well, of course, we focused on some important skills that you have to to acquire and to get when you want to work in English, like having a phone conversation, joining a meeting, or maybe welcoming a visitor in your company, and then we have the vocabulary is very specific. So you have vocabulary for marketing people, or maybe for accounting, for finance, and so on. So it's very specific content and very specific skills for people who want to use English at work.
Okay, all right. Okay, so yeah, it's you can really find the specific vocabulary for your job.
Yeah, sure.
Which sometimes, sometimes a lot of people either they don't have that vocabulary, or if they're taking lessons with someone, their teacher doesn't have that vocabulary because it's very specific to a specific job.
Yeah, for example, I don't know all the vocabulary for accounting because it's not my job.
Yeah,
but
right.
There are some specific words and sentences that you really need to know if you want to work in accounting.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay, well, that's really interesting. And also, I know that MosaLingua uses SRS, which is spaced repetition system. And I'm not sure that many people know exactly what SRS is, but it's great for learning more vocabulary in less time. Maybe can you just tell us a little bit about that and how it helps people?
Yeah, sure. So in a nutshell, SRS is a memorization technique which help learners remember concepts. So when it comes to learn languages, it helps learners to memorize words and sentences and phrases. So the thing is that when we learn, a new word, a new sentence, if we don't review it regularly, we are going to forget.
Yeah,
I think that everyone has experienced this phenomenon. So we have to review it several times before it sticks.
Yeah, right. Yeah, a lot of times. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll forget it.
Right.
So the SRS is a very effective technique because it helps learners space their review sessions. And so, for example, if we can, for instance, in MosaLingua, when you learn a new word or a sentence or key sentence, the app will ask you to review it after 8 hours, then 1 day, 1 week, and 1 month. So you can have those regular review sessions.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you will remember the word.
Yeah, right.
And it's very effective because it adapts to your needs. So, for example, you will review more often the words which are the most difficult for you.
Okay.
So you will not waste your time, and you will focus on the words and on the concept which are most difficult for you.
Right, like you don't waste your time reviewing things. Like I know because I've downloaded and bought the app for learning German, the MosaLingua German app, because I'm learning German. And it's what I really like about it is that you get the little notifications, and it's like, hey, how about reviewing some flashcards right now? And I'm like, I'm kind of busy. Oh, but you know what? Since you told me right now, and it takes like 5 minutes, okay, yeah, I'll just do it real quickly. And it's almost like it kind of makes me feel not guilty. I mean, guilty, but in a bad way. I mean, in a good way, in a way that motivates me. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, MosaLingua app. I do need to review my German right now. So let me do that before I get back to work. And I think that's really good. Yeah, it really it kind of makes me feel like I have to do it, which I think for a lot of people that's what they need, especially if they're learning alone. They need something or somebody behind them going, you got to do it now, not tomorrow, because you're not going to do it tomorrow. I know you, so I think that's really kind of neat. Yeah. And also, I know that you speak several languages. How many languages do you speak exactly?
Six.
Which languages do you speak?
So it's my native language, which is Italian.
Sure.
And then French, English, Romanian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Brazilian Portuguese. I think,
okay.
Yeah. And Spanish.
And Spanish, right? Okay, right. Oh, that's sort of an interesting mix. I guess the most unusual one is Romanian. Why did you learn Romanian?
Well, it's for personal reason, because my wife is Romanian. It's from Romania, yeah. So,
okay. So
to
that's
communicate with her family and her friends.
yeah.
It was nice to learn that language, and
Uh,
I actually like it. Yeah, it's
yeah,
nice.
okay, yeah. I
Nice
mean, yeah, I mean,
language.
it's it's always interesting to learn any languages, and that that's your wife's language. That's a pretty good motivation
Yeah.
to learn a language. Yeah, and so like, what tips for learning languages would you give to the members of the Speak Better Feel Great community? Because you've obviously figured out what works, I think.
Yeah, sure. Well, the first thing is like a motivation thing.
Mm-hmm.
So my first tip will be realizing that everyone can learn a language.
Mm.
So for example, everyone can get fluent in English
Yeah.
because I don't like when I hear people saying, I'm not good at English, I'm not good at languages, because it's
Yeah.
it's not true. It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
true. Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think that if you can overcome this barrier,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very important first step
Right.
to
Exactly.
to get results and to be successful with languages.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will say that our approach is to focus at the beginning on vocabulary, so
Mm-hmm.
you
Okay.
can have because we think that vocabulary is like the foundations
Mm-hmm.
of learning a language, of the
Right.
whole process. And then we advise to use that vocabulary, so those foundation, as soon as possible, because
Okay.
it's very very important to practice and
Right.
to
Yeah.
overcome another barrier. I'm sure that you're very familiar with that barrier, is the fear of making mistakes.
Right. Yes.
I
Yes.
know a lot
Yes.
of people who are actually very good at English. When they
Yeah.
write emails, or when
Yeah.
you can realize that they have a good English, but
Mm-hmm.
when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to speaking, they are really afraid because I will make mistakes. I will be judged by my by the person.
Mistakes and yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So it's vocabulary. Start practicing and don't be afraid of making mistakes. Basically. Yeah. That
yeah,
sounds like
pretty much.
really
Yeah,
really good advice. I remember I did have one time someone I was working with, and we were doing a simulation for, I don't know, a telephone call or something. And we started the activity, and then he's just sitting there in silence. And I said, "Okay, do you have questions? Did you understand the instruction?" And he goes, "No, I'm just afraid to make a mistake." And I was like, "No, no, it's okay. It's just English lesson. It's I'm here. You're here to make mistakes with me. That's my job is to."
yeah, and you're there to help. So
Exactly, right. So I think that's a big point, is just don't be afraid, right? And also maybe another thing that is, I guess, necessary for learning, it's the time. And I think a lot of people in the Speak Better Feel Great community, they say that time is really their biggest challenge. It's like the big thing that they don't have today to improve their English. And how does the app MosaLingua, how does that maybe address this question?
yeah, sure. Well, when it comes to time, yeah, I can certainly relate because
Mm-hmm.
I'm really busy, and I know that time is a very limited resource
Yeah.
for everyone.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that an app like MosaLingua can help because it doesn't require a lot of time and efforts.
Mm-hmm.
So we usually advise to use the app, as you said, like 5-10 minutes per day, and I'm sure everyone everyone has 10 minutes per day, because we all have those little moments. We
Mm-hmm.
only have some downtime,
Exactly.
those little moments when you're commuting, maybe, or maybe when you're waiting in a line, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
waiting for a friend who is late.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, the app is always with you, so because you can use it on your mobile phone, so you can actually take the app, your mobile phone, and have a short learning session or
Mm-hmm.
review session and use it. And the app can really help because the whole method, the whole approach is conceived to help you make progress without spending too much time on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's important. And I think yeah, what you said about having downtime and just time when you've got 5 minutes of nothing, and you can't really do a big project, And I think most people they pull out their smartphone and they go on Facebook or they go on Twitter. But instead of going on Facebook, you could go on the app and do some language practice. Yeah, definitely.
Which is more useful.
Right,
Sure.
that was probably more useful than spending 10 minutes on
And
Facebook
social media.
looking at videos of cats and whatnot, right? And also, I've started using the app to learn German, and I like it. And there's, it's gotten a ton of positive reviews from people all over the world. In your opinion, what is it about the MosaLingua app that people really like?
Well, to start with, I think that they appreciate the fact that they can achieve quick results. Those little results which are very important at the beginning, because especially the first results means motivation. So
Right.
the first results mean motivation, and motivation is really the fuel when you are learning a language.
Right.
Without motivation, it's very hard, because.
Yeah.
Especially if because I have a passion for learning languages. I'm very lucky,
Yeah.
but I the majority of people is not like that.
Right.
They don't like to learn languages.
Right.
It can be fun, like with the apps and with all of those interactive methods. But I'm sure that a lot of people is not like me.
Right.
So then, based on our user feedback, we realized that they appreciated the fact that we do not waste their time, because it's a valuable resource, time. So, in MosaLingua, they don't find like, those silly games or maybe useless phrases and words that you will never use.
Right,
like, when we are at school, this is the problem, that sometimes we learn words or phrases or grammar rules which we'll never use.
Yeah, it's a bit like algebra. Yeah, you never use it.
We tried to focus on content and the activities which are really useful to them.
Okay, yeah.
And finally, I think that they like the fact that the app coaches them. So like the notification that you mentioned, or maybe the little tips, learning tips and hacks that we're giving.
Yeah, right.
But at the same time, it adapts to your needs. So, for example, if you're in German, for example, you already know a word, or that you don't want to focus on writing. You can focus on, for example, speaking and on a particular content, for example, because you are going to go, you want to go to Germany, in a week, so you need to focus on the tourism vocabulary. So I think this balance between the coaching and the freedom to learn what you really need.
Okay, so it allows for a certain amount of personalization where you can really choose what you want to focus on because you need that. And maybe you don't need, I don't know, the vocabulary for going shopping or something like that. Okay, that's really.
If you're a guy, for example.
Right, for example, right? You just want the vocabulary for sitting and waiting, right?
There are guys who like.
Of course, yeah, But okay, very interesting, very interesting. And I think for maybe some programs that's the thing that lacks is this personalization element. Yeah, definitely. And then maybe this is the final question. So what would be your one piece of advice for someone who really wants to learn English or any language, but they're very busy, they have their work, their personal life, and everything else? What would be your one piece of advice for this person who is just very frustrated because they don't have the time or the energy to learn a language?
Yeah. Well, my tip would be, being a smart learner. I will explain.
Okay.
This means focusing only on activity that really suits your needs, and using method that do not waste your time. Because, as I said, I think it's very important. I will repeat that. Everyone can find like 10 minutes per day, and use the downtime and to learn little by little, but every day, because it's motivation is important, but also regularity. The thing of study
It's like
like
sport.
every day if possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, another thing that I would add is the organization, because yeah, maybe it can be, yeah, it's easy to say that you have to make time,
Right.
but it's true, because no one will do that for you. You have to make time. So for example, you can organize what I do, for example, because now I'm improving Brazilian Portuguese.
Okay, yeah.
So, and I know that to me it's very important to practice, because I'm in that phase when I have to speak and get more fluent and learn to use more words and so on. So when what I do is like scheduling a time slot of my week in advance. So I will not, I know that for that time slot I will not accept any meeting or any other thing. So like that I can have like a 1 hour conversation with my Brazilian Portuguese tutor.
Right. Yeah.
I will do that every week.
Okay.
So and scheduling that in advance helped me to actually do it, and it actually feels great when you actually do what you
want to do.
you want to do.
Exactly.
And again, you can be smart. For example, I don't know, if you really don't have time, you can use your lunch break maybe to have a conversation, or maybe having breakfast with a language partner, because we can find like a language partner on Skype or maybe in your city and so on.
Yeah.
So exploit the time that you have and actually make time, and everyone can do that.
I think it's your day is basically a series of choices, and so it's you choose to plan your language time, and you choose to do it. And I really like the idea of actually putting it in your calendar. Like you said, like it's like a meeting, and maybe it is a meeting with your tutor or your conversation partner. But I think it's important to really respect. It's like respecting yourself, because it's something that you want to do, and you take a meeting with yourself, and you just do it. Yeah, that's really good piece of advice, I think. Right.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well. So thank you very much, Luca, for this conversation. It's been really interesting. Tons of good ideas, and I'm sure that that the members of the Speak Better Feel Great community are really going to appreciate all of your advice, and also maybe discovering the app as well, to help them to really just find the 5 minutes they need in their day. So so thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Christina.
All right, thanks. And so that's it. So like I said, I'm sure that it was a very interesting interview with lots of good advice, lots of good tips to help you to learn English, and especially to find the time to learn English, because I know that's a really big challenge for everyone. For me too. It's to find the time to study my German. It's not always easy, but it is possible if you're determined to do it. Now, if you're interested in the MosaLingua app. The mobile app, it's available on iTunes, so that's for the iPhone and the iPad. And for your Android devices, you can find it in the Google Play Store. And there's also a web version so that people can use it on their computer, and that's available at MosaLingua.com. It's available, like I said, for all systems, Android or Mac, PC and Mac. And, like I said, I've just recently started using it to learn German, and I really do think that it is a very useful, very effective tool for busy people who need to learn English for professional reasons, personal reasons, who want to get results, but who don't have the time to spend on it because everyone is so busy. And very important as well is that is my honest opinion. This video was not sponsored by MosaLingua. I don't receive anything from these guys, any money from these guys. It's really because it's something that I've tried, that I've liked, and I wanted to share it with you, but also to give you the opportunity to meet one of the guys who actually created this app, and to learn a little more about tips from the experts on finding time to learn languages and find tools as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to check out their app, check out their website. I really recommend it. And I guess I'll just see you next time for your next Speak Better, Feel Great episode. Thanks. Bye.